Hi everyone, my name is Diana Robertson and I'll be your lecturer for the semester for DIAL5111w. I'm going to kick off today with Learning Unit 1, but just a reminder that every week we will have a session on a Monday at 6 o'clock. And what I'll do is at the end of the week, I'll consolidate all the concepts that are important for you to know and upload a YouTube video for you to access should you have missed the session or if you need something to be repeated or clarified in order to prepare for upcoming assessments. This does not mean that you don't need to attend the Monday sessions because you should, your attendance will be monitored, but also because in the Monday sessions I will be touching on important assessment related aspects and allow for interaction, Q&A, quizzes and games to make it fun in interaction, but the theory and the depth of discussions will be uploaded for you because the 1 hour on a Monday is just not sufficient for all the work we need to cover. So as I proceed on, I'd like to introduce myself once more. I'm Diana Robertson. I am the head of education at the IIE MSA campus. It's a sister brand of Rosebank College, situated in Reims, Johannesburg. And my email is on the slides, but you'll also see my email address on every announcement or post that I normally make. So if you need to reach me, you're more than welcome to reply on an email you receive from me or email me directly. Okay, so let's get started with the outline of Learning Unit 1. Now, Learning Unit 1 has 3 themes. The first theme is computer literacy skills, and that's what I'll start with in this first session. And this focuses on or transitions you from school to higher education. What did you learn? What's still familiar to you in terms of using your device and completing assessments? And then shifts you over to what tertiary education requires you to do, what skills you need to have in terms of completing your assessments successfully. And the skills you gain in this module will support you throughout your academic journey. So let's get started. On the Learn platform, you should also be able to access under learning units every single aspect that I cover in my slides. So my advice would be to pause the video at this point, log into your Learn platform, and navigate through the learning units and the themes with me. Okay, so we're going to start off with Learning Unit 1, Theme 1, that focuses on your computer literacy skills at the moment. And here, all that we want you to start thinking about is what does digital literacy entail? Do you agree that digital literacy skills require lifelong learning, and why? Do you think that the skills you gain here will impact your studies and your journey forever? Or do you think that the skills necessary here will impact your workplace, will impact the journey that you're going to take in your personal capacity? And my answer to that question is yes. The skills and the tips and tools you gain from this module is going to lay the foundation for every completed task, every email you send, every digital interaction you have, because it will empower you and equip you to do so successfully. So let's get started with an activity. So I'd like you to complete activity 1.1.1 that says digital literacy and basic computer skills. Now, the reason why I'd like you to do this is because it's going to allow you to reflect on where you left off at school, what skills do you have, and it will give me an indication what skills do you still need to acquire, on which level are you, and it's also going to give you that clarity. So you're going to navigate your way to activity 1.1.1 on the Learn platform, and you're going to think about your experiences of using technology in high school, in your workplace if you've worked it before, or even in your day-to-day life. And you're going to complete a 25-question quiz. And this will give us some insight as to what digital literacy skills do you already have, and how can we equip you to upskill what you know. Now, one of the key things when you are doing digital literacy is knowing the difference between hardware and software. And if we were in an interactive class, in which we will do on Monday, I will ask you to pop in the chat what are hardware that you've heard of and what software have you heard of before. What would be the difference between these two? And it becomes important for you to know or distinguish between the two so that you can participate in conversations around what you need to have access to and how do you navigate your way through the hardware to actually access software. And so I've included in the slides a table that gives us some clarity between hardware versus software. Now, software is a set of instructions, data, or programs used to operate computers and execute specific tools or tasks. And then hardware describes the physical aspects of your computer. So your mouse, for example, will be an example of your hardware. In the applications that you use, for example, the Learn platform or various AI tools that we will be using later on for assessments, those are software applications. And so I'd like you to work through this specific table, familiarize yourself with the definition of hardware and software, the types that we get, the examples that is given for you, the issues that might arise within each of these different aspects, and then the durability thereof. I'm not going to unpack this now because this will become a quiz in our face-to-face online session on a Monday. Theme 2 then speaks about your emails. And as a student, you're going to interact with us as academics via email many times. You're also going to contact a lot of the academic staff or the admin staff through email, requesting certain support or assistance, or even querying some of your marks or assignments, or just requesting recommendation letter or proof of registration. And when you do so, there's certain etiquette that you should use. There's a correct professional way of navigating emails and communication. And what this learning unit wants to do is to familiarize yourself with the menus, the tools, and the functions of MS Outlook as an email software application, but also to allow you to send accurate and appropriate emails using your MS Outlook. Now, on the slides that I initially uploaded for you, the introduction slides, I've given an email Outlook setup pictures and screenshots for you. Please navigate that first slides that was uploaded earlier in the week and familiarize yourself with how to access Outlook so that we can get to the starting point of sending an email. Now, one of the key things that you need to be familiarize yourself with is the technique of using a mouse. Now, I will ask you in the face-to-face online session, and I'm going to say face-to-face because it's just where my camera will be on and we will be able to actively interact. And there I'll ask you how do you navigate using a mouse? For example, I've got an image on the slide that gives you some clarity on where to left click and what that does, right click, what that would do, how to scroll the wheel and move the mouse up and down, and what the body of the mouse is actually for. So in our next session, we're actually going to discuss this in order for you to give me a sense. Do you use the physical mouse or do you use the mouse pad that's embedded in your laptop? Do you have a touch point? Do you left click and right click on the little square on your laptop, or do you plug in a mouse and use it and left and right click, and what exactly do you see what happens? So it will be an interactive session, and hopefully you would have access to two devices, or pause for a second, upload or test, and then interact with me in the session. While you're navigating your mouse, another key aspect is to be able to type. And the typing part is probably the most important part, because if you're unable to type, completing the task will possibly be near impossible. However, there's also audio applications where you can speak and it can record or type for you as you speak. And so technology is quite advanced. But one of the key things that we need you to be able to do is to type. And so another activity that you need to do or just test for yourself and your own knowledge is your typing speed. So activity 1.1.2 is a typing challenge that you will embark on. Please navigate your way to activity 1.1.2 and do the typing speed test so that you could see what are the speed at which you type or the challenges that you possibly have when typing. And should you need additional writing support, writing consultants, uh, practicing on your own, navigating and finding support in the library, reaching out to me, asking for advice. Those are key things that you need to do in order for yourself to gain confidence in writing your upcoming assignments. Finally, it will bring us to word processing skills. Here you have to navigate the menu tools and functions on MS Word as a word processing software application. You have to be able to write, edit, and spell check your text. You have to cut, copy, and paste information. You have to modify the appearance and position of certain text and format your work. You're going to have to use the track changes and comment function effectively. And you're also going to create and populate and edit a table in MS Word with at least 4 rows and 3 columns. And then you're going to insert and effectively position a graphic of a picture into text. And then you're going to print a document from MS Word. If you are able to do this, you will be able to confidently navigate your way in preparation for your first ICE tasks as well as your first summative assessments. Now, take note that theme 3, I'm going to unpack it in our first session next week. It is going to allow you to work through these aspects as task 1 for me to know that I can test you on each of these points. So as task 1 for us will generally be a start from the word processing skills. So please take note of that and attend the next session so that I could give you step-by-step instructions on what to do, and you would be able to show me if you are competent in doing so that I could advise or give you feedback. I'm going to ask that you please do the activities yourself. Do not ask a friend, do not use AI applications for this one. Complete it by yourself so that I could give you the needed support and feedback for you to start familiarizing yourself with aspects that are laying the foundation for your upcoming assessments. And then we get to theme 2, which is the email formatting part. You have to be able to write an email effectively, professionally, as I've mentioned, and this becomes something that we're going to test. Now, why do you think it's appropriate to write or have email etiquette? We could have this discussion in person, but this is important because you're interacting with academics, with professionals, and there's a certain way that you need to carry yourself or navigate or speak and interact with your colleagues, with your peers in class, and with your academics, your lecturers, and even administrative staff, as I've mentioned. But it's important that you include a couple of things in your email correctly. Now I'm going to walk through this carefully because I'd like you to send me an email. And this is for me to see your email etiquette and also to have you on my email communication where we can interact. So that if you do need me, I know you've got my email and also you know how to address me in an email, and I will address you professionally when I respond to you. So email etiquette considers the 5 following steps. Number 1, include a clear, concise subject line. So you'll see there is a subject line where you need to indicate what this email is going to be about. And your subject line to me will be um, introducing yourself for the DIAL5111 module. And you're going to address me as Miss Robertson or Miss Diana. Many of the students on campus call me Di, which is D-I, which is the first 2 letters of my name. And so you'll say Dear Di, or Dear Diana, or Dear Miss Robertson. And then in the email itself, you're going to introduce yourself to me as a DIAL 5111 student from Rosebank College, and you just want to say hi and introduce yourself to me. You can think about more creative things you want to add to the email in the body of the email. The next part of it, you're going to consider in the email a nice introduction or greeting to the email. And also for number 4, you're going to identify why you are sending me the email. Now, I've said it is because you are going to introduce yourself to me. You can also then mention any other aspects that you think is important for an introduction. You might be struggling with something, you might be needing information, you might still not have access, you might not be able to hear me clearly, or you might still have a question around the module. Take the time in this email to address those aspects. And then you will conclude by regards, your name and surname, include your student number, and possibly an email address at the bottom as a signature for me to reach out to you. So I'd like you to test your email etiquette so I can just tick the box that you are clear and familiarizing yourself on this and that you are confident to do so. And I will reply back to you and we can start a conversation or possibly have contact for when you might need me in the future. Then this brings us to the final theme, which is word processing skills. Now, word processing skills, we're going to work through it throughout the semester. You must have accessed MS Word before, and if you have not, I'm going to ask that you start accessing and Google search so that you can have clarity around what it is that we require you to do. On the MS Word tool itself, you will see a number of toolbars at the top that indicate and give you certain insights and tabs that will help you complete or draft or create the specific outline of a document that you want. So how does one create a new document is what this MS Word allows you to do. There are various MS Word templates. Which one is it that you want to use? In this specific attempt, I'm asking you to use MS Word, but there's also MS PowerPoint, Excel, and other tools and applications or templates that you can navigate or have access to. But specifically for us, I'd like you to access MS Word. And you need to be able to navigate it on your laptop, find out where the exact location of it is, and then also the type of file that it is. Is it in a Word format or in a PDF format? And then what does PDF even mean? How do you add, move, change the text? How do you change the page size, the orientation, or the from landscape to portrait? How do you indicate or can observe what the margins of your document is? And all these are important tools that you will use because you need to test at the top of your toolbar. In an upcoming ICE activity that I spoke about earlier, we are going to use this toolbar to create and insert tables, change the format, change the size, the orientation of the page, and test these aspects to ensure that you are able to complete a task successfully in MS Word. But remember, the key thing is the formatting tables, toolbars that you need to be able to access. And we are going to take a step in more detail on this in the online session on Monday at 6 o'clock. But what's important for me is that you prepare prior to the lecture, prior to that session, prior to the 1 hour, because it's very short and it does not give me any contact, physical contact with you. So you need to prepare before the session in order for me to give you options and opportunities to ask questions. And I'll be able to guide you in order for you to structure your upcoming assessments successfully. So this brings us to the end of or consolidates Learning Unit 1, 2, and 3, and ultimately know what Learning Unit 1 is going to be about. I'm going to conclude with a quick quiz on Monday. I'm going to give you the instructions for the first upcoming ICE task, and I'll also touch on the POE aspect of this module and how we'll go about preparing for that final assessments so that when you are not in contact with me, you can start drafting these and seek the needed support or clarity as we progress through the work. So continue to practice on the aspects that we've spoken about, especially the Word document, the processing skills. Practice, practice, practice. Access those toolbars and navigate and familiarize yourself with it. Apply the insights in upcoming tasks of your other modules and ask me as many questions in the upcoming online sessions that we will have. This is the end of this recording for Learning Unit 1. Remember that I'm going to consolidate and quickly move on to Learning Unit 2. So please practice and please prepare through the work as I've given it. I have inserted my email address, so please reach out if you need any help. And all the best for the upcoming week.